Hey folks, it's Courtney. I'm here with another video. This one's going to be a part 2 for body removals. When a body needs an autopsy, that means they died one of a few ways. Suspicious, there is unattended, and then there's accidental. So for unattended, that could be like a welfare check that has gone bad. Someone that passes away in their sleep, also, that could count as an unattended death. Basically, unattended is someone who died by themselves. Found bodies is kind of, industry jargon, if you will. So next we can move on to accidental deaths. That could be someone falling, hitting their head, a car wreck. That would technically count as accidental because it's like a motor vehicle accident. And very rarely have I come across someone in a car wreck that doesn't need an autopsy. I really have no idea what they'd use to differentiate. I would have to interview like a physician to figure that out. So after the accidental deaths, you're going to get into the suspicious death category. Basically, suspicious deaths are homicides when people die by suicide. If a person is decomposed, it could be suspicious. I once got a decapitation. The person was decomposed, and obviously that's a bit suspicious. Also, what could count as a suspicious death would be an in custody death, running from the police. Say you have a warrant, you get pulled over with your friend driving. If you end up dying in that pursuit, whether you get hit by a car on the highway, somehow drown or any kind of thing like that, if you die in that situation, you technically are in custody. If you die within a jail, if you die within a prison, minus execution, that's a little bit different. Who picks up someone that dies in custody, suspiciously, unattended, accidentally? Is either the ME's office, the medical examiner office. Sometimes they are called a coroner office. It really just depends on where you live, what that jurisdiction is, and if they have an elected coroner who has a whole office. It varies state to state, but most of the time a coroner and a medical examiner, it's interchangeable. Out in Texas, they normally are called medical examiners. I think it's just state to state. However, that state decided to do things. Other than the medical examiner doing their own removals, they're going to contract out to funeral homes in their area. Usually you want one that is within your county to get to scenes pretty quick if it's a high profile case, and avoid being filmed as you are getting a decedent for the sake of them and their family. A drone to fly overhead and, pick up footage of you trying to get the cot into the van. It is quite traumatizing. I can assume as the mortician you would be very uncomfortable saying, wow, that's me. It's like you're getting filmed and you're gonna end up on worldstar.com, please. Please no. If that happens, you just hold the sheet up. You can ask some kind police officer if they mind holding the sheet for a moment while you get things ready. Provide some kind of privacy for the decedents. Legally in the United States, I do believe you are allowed to be filmed. If you're in the public eye, it's just, we subject ourselves to the tiny phones in our pockets. Dispatch is who's going to tell the medical examiner that there has been a death, a doctor that is unwilling to sign, or there is no doctor. The death investigators associated with the coroner's office or the medical examiner's office, they will call whoever is contracted. When I was in Texas, I worked for a place that we had a county contract there. Whenever you get called to go out, whether it's 3 a.m., there's a car wreck, Courtney with ABC Funeral Home, I'd say, hey Courtney, so-and-so with the medical examiner's office, we have a death and we need you guys to come and transport. So once the funeral home gets the call, and the situation is a bit different from my last video. If you haven't watched it, I'll probably try to link it somewhere. Once the funeral home goes out to the call, normally I would look for the police lights and or fire trucks or ambulances. It just depended what the death was. On the side of the road, then I would look for shut down traffic. Usually an indicator within the van that, lets them know that you are the transport for the medical examiner's office. It might be a little weird when you pull up and the tow truck people are like, who are you? You're here for the car, but I'm here for the person. So a little bit awkward. So what does one bring for the medical examiner call. It's similar to the previous video I made. You're going to want a lot of sheets, you're going to want multiple gloves, and you're going to want a lot of towels. I mentioned hand towels before. You're going to want like bath towel size. You want a good amount. Also, you should consider having bed pads. I know that might sound a little bit weird, but you want a bed pad because you might have like puddles of blood that you need to get the body across. You want to have your own on hand. After all that, because again, like I've said, people live and die in all kinds of conditions. You have to go and you have to get them no matter where they're at, no matter where they died, and no matter what they were doing when they died. They die in weird places, they die in weird positions. The best thing is to put the sheets that you will kind of rat tail them or just like kind of squish them and fold them so you can have like more strength to them individually, and you'll use multiple sheets under the armpits, you'll go under the hips, under the knees. You do want the bags have handles on the sides because you're going to want to be able to get them out. I've gotten people like out of their house, out of their yard, out of their recliner. I've gotten them out of their shower, like the floor of it with like the glass door underneath their porch. I've gotten people from their attic. We have had to cut someone down after they hanged themselves. We have had to go to all kinds of places in all kinds of conditions. I have gotten people out of hoarder houses. I have picked people up from pastures where we had to drive like a little golf cart out to the location of the decedent, out of bathtubs and off of toilets. I did not realize that Elvis was such a trendsetter. Like, I'm still just like shocked at how many people die on their toilet. And I found out the reason for that, and I just have to share it. So the reason a lot of people die Elvis style on the toilet is because the symptoms of a heart attack mimic that of indigestion. Literally, like, Elvis just died because he had a heart attack and he thought he just needed to poop. It's like, no, you may have actually just suffered a minor myocardial infarction. Okay, so a lot of people also ask me, what else do you bring? Like germicidal wipes? Do you bring rubbing alcohol? Do you bring peroxide? And the answer is yes. You want to bring all of those things. The peroxide is going to help get blood off of things. It's going to help get the blood out. It like oxidizes it and it like bubbles up, and it's a lot easier to clean. At least that way, if you're not like me, buys all of her suits at H&M because it's a lot cheaper, and then buy another $36 pair of slacks that match your blazer and then go from there. So I do get asked a lot, do you bring Vicks Vapor Rub to put under your nostrils when you go on a decomp, like a decomposing call? The answer is no. You do not want to use Vicks underneath your nostrils. All it ever did for me is open your airway. That's what it's created to do. It's very minty. It smells, you know, if you like mint, it smells very delicious. It's really not good because all that decomp smell, which it is scatol, cadaverine, putrescine, a cocktail of chemicals and gases and different things that happen when you decompose. It's about, a 45-day process if no one intervenes. Vicks doesn't help when you're in a decomposition situation, and it gets that decomp real down deep in your lungs, and you really don't want that for when you're back home showering off all of that nasty and you burp and it's there. It's like you can't digest that. It's very complicated. I think it has to do with like the chemical compounds that it's made of. Would recommend that you Google that phenomenon. Let me know down in the comments. I'm curious to see what you find because I have spent so much time looking that up. That's where I can wrap this up. Nice little bow for you. The removal process for a medical examiner office is a little more delicate than a normal funeral home one. Definitely check out my other video if you are interested in what that entails. Next video, I'm not too sure what it's going to be yet, but I will come up with something. I do want to keep this going. So, till next time, you guys, I'm Courtney, I'm a little creepy, and I'm still here hanging out.